I will scoop.
Perfect. Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of the 10X Life. We are here. We're talking about Grant Cardone's book. Do you have a copy of it there, Mary Joy? The 10X Rule by Grant Cardone. And for those of you who may not know, Grant Cardone is a very successful businessman. He's put his name in the world of real estate, and more specifically in the last few years, sales. He wants to be known as the #1 sales guy in the world. And over the last 5 years, he has really put a stamp on that. Antonio, thank you so much for sharing with your Twitter followers. For anybody else who are on here, please share with your Twitter followers or your Facebook people, because we are going to be talking about what it is to do or live the 10X rule. What the 10X rule simply is stating is this: if you take 10 times the action in your life towards whatever it is that you want to accomplish, and you fall short of your original goal, you're still going to surpass it because you put 10 times the effort. For example, if you want to make $100,000 this year, shoot for $1 million. And if you put the actions necessary to make the $1 million, you're going to far surpass the 100,000, just simply because you put in the actions to hit $1 million. So we 10X everything. Today, we're going to talk about a specific chapter in his book. Thank you so much for the love there, which is chapter 18. If you guys are unfamiliar with the book, it is the 10X rule. But we're going to be talking about chapter 18, criticism, right? And none of us like it. Criticism is a sign of success. So I'd like to also introduce my co-host here, Mary Joy. She is the founder of Perry Newbies on Periscope. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with the platform of Periscope, it is the app owned by Twitter, and Blab is also owned by Twitter. But she is helping scopers, people who Periscope or get on platforms like Blab, get out of their comfort zone and start to share their message on that platform. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Mary Joy.
Hi, everybody. I'm doing Periscope at the same time. So hi, Periscope, and hi, Blab. This is Mary Joy. This is our weekly Blab with Ryan Roy and me to share with you guys this wonderful 10X rule book. I can't hold it properly with both hands. So I would love to invite you on the Periscope to come to the Blab and talk with us about this awesome criticism is a sign of success. Okay, come here and talk with us, and I'll see you on the Blab. Bye, everybody, and Periscope. Thank you for the heart. Let me just, I like to let them know that we're here. So,
Absolutely.
I'm the founder of Perry Newbies. Like Ryan said, I created this group in Facebook because I know when I started, I pressed that broadcast and I was like, I felt this emotion, mixed emotion that I've never felt before. And then I had to stop it and say, you know what, I can't do this. And I was shaking so much that thinking to do the next one is like about to kill me. Have you ever gone through that you know, I can't do this? And I said to myself, there's no other group that really helped the newbies. So I'm gonna create a Facebook group and let them know that we're here and help them overcome that feeling of, you know, fear, nervousness, or whatever it is. So yeah, that's us. And yeah.
Yes. Yeah, so what I love about Mary Joy's story is because she started, hey, Chuck, thank you so much for jumping back in. We always appreciate you here on our Blab. Is Mary Joy's story, she started reading the 10X rule probably about a month and a half ago, and she just loves the principles because she's applying it to the group that she's creating on Periscope or on Facebook called the Perry Newbies. So the Perry Newbies is a group that has grown to over 1,700 people under her leadership. And leaders follow leaders, and she's got 1,700 people who is now a part of a group that she has joined. And chapter 18 today that we're going to be discussing, criticism is a sign of success. And I would like to say, For any of you who have tried to grow a group to 1,700 people in 3 or 4 months, it's not an easy task. So she has been living the 10X rule, and without that comes criticism. Have you experienced any criticism over the last couple months, Mary Joy?
Oh my gosh. If it's not one thing, guys, it's another. And as you know, Ryan, every week I seem to be going through something that I I share with you guys. How can I overcome this when all I'm doing is helping you guys, but it's at the same time it feels like I'm doing something wrong. So where is it's like what is going on? What am I doing that is wrong? And I'm just like overwhelmed. Yeah.
And that's the best part, is she's doing nothing wrong. She's following her passion. But because other people, right, want to criticize, and that's what we're talking about in this chapter, it makes us feel as though we're doing something wrong by following our dreams. So if you are out there following your dreams and you're getting a little bit of criticism, it is, as he states in chapter 18 of his book, Grant Cardone, the 10X Rule, criticism is a sign of success. So you are succeeding, but it doesn't discount the feeling we get, right? It doesn't discount the feeling that we get. So Jim Beach is actually coming across on Facebook asking for the link. I don't know if you want to respond to that, Mary Joy, but you may want to text that out to him or something. Just tell him to look for 10xLife on Blab. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what Grant Cardone says, if you guys wouldn't mind. And we're going to open up the hot seat here in about 6 minutes for anybody who would like to join. But first, we'd like to get through a little bit of it. And I've highlighted a few things as I read the chapter last week. And it says, wouldn't you rather receive criticism from people who are jealous of your success than from your family, your boss, or bill collectors? Like, wouldn't you rather? You're going to get criticism in life, right? No matter what, we get criticism. We get criticized for all kinds of things. But wouldn't you rather be criticized for the things that you're successful about than the things that you're not successful about? I say Beyond 2 LLC, I'm going to be transitioning from Blog Talk Radio next. I'm a bit nervous. Do you have any suggestions? Well, why are you, so you're transitioning from the Blog Talk Radio to a live platform, is that what you're saying? And if so, to Blab. You know, it's interesting. I just did a blab about this, and we'll digress here a little bit to answer her question. Be yourself. That's the best advice I can give you, is be yourself. I took the acting class just the other night, and I'm not an actor. But if you're true to yourself, you're not trying to be something that you're not, you can't go wrong. It's when we try to act in a way that we think the audience wants us to act, when we're trying too hard to be something that we aren't. I would say be true to yourself and your audience will find you. So don't worry about what you're wearing or what you're doing. And I've seen some very successful people. Look, I'm in like a t-shirt and this. It doesn't matter. If you're delivering a message that resonates with people, they will find you. They're all those things that go through your head about what should my background be? What should this be with? Don't worry about that. Be true to yourself. And people will criticize. People will say, why does he have just a white background? Why is he wearing a jacket? Why is he wearing a t-shirt, not a shirt, if he's talking about business? Why is Mary Joy in her kitchen or wherever she is, or bedroom, or wherever she is, it looks like she's like a closet back there? If those people are on your scope or on your blab or on your platform, you don't want them there anyway. You want the people who are listening to the words coming out of your mouth. So be you. Just be you. And you can't go wrong. Why not do the blab and then upload the audio file to your podcast platform? There you go. I love that idea, Chuck. And that's the beauty of this platform. You get people, and that's what we're talking about. When you're going to have success, and don't send it to your friends, I would say, until it's a success. Even then they'll say something, is get on the platform, be you, be real, be powerful. And when you do that, there's still going to be people who criticize you even more. And why? As Grant Cardone says in the book, and I'll probably come across it in my notes here at some point during this blab, is they're going to criticize you because that's all they can do because they're not in motion themselves. It's easy to criticize people from the sidelines. So I would say to you, just be you, because you are perfect the way you are, and your audience will find you. And I hope that helped. You have anything to add on to that, Mary Joy? Because you're experiencing a lot of this right now in what it is that you're doing. I'm experiencing a lot of this right now. I just don't listen to it.
You're better than me. Guys, he's better than me because I'm more emotional and I'm feeling like, wow, this is so huge. I have to go to Jim sometimes and say to Jim, please help me, motivate me, because how can I move forward when all I want to do is give everybody the best of what I can do. So guys, if you're feeling that, like somebody said, do it scared. This is part of life and of business. So I'm moving forward no matter what I'm gonna go through, I'm afraid. So it's not easy, but I know where we are going. So that's where I'm gonna focus.
You know, I wrote in my notes as I was writing this, is when people criticize, all they're doing is bringing problems that you have. Some things I described, you're like, why do you have a white background? Is your lighting right? Is the background? Don't come to me with problems. Bring me solutions. I want to work with people who are bringing me solutions. As a matter of fact, and I'll share it, I won't share what the content was, but Mary Joy had sent something out to a group of us in the Perry Newbies group earlier today and asked for some feedback. And I left some feedback for you, correct?
Yeah.
But I gave you some constructive criticism, but gave you why the constructive criticism and what you could do, right? I gave you a solution to the problem. I just didn't say, hey, don't do that. I said, here's what I think should change. This is why I think it should change. And this is what you can do in place of it. You need people who are bringing you solutions, not just criticizing you. And if you could surround yourself with enough people who are going to support you with good ideas or build on the ideas that you already have, then you're headed in the right direction. And for anyone who's not coming with solutions to their criticisms or problems, you have every right to say thank you very much and continue doing what you're doing. You don't have to justify or talk to them or say, hey, why do you think that? If they're not coming to you with solutions, then maybe whatever else may come out of their mouth is probably going to be another problem. So guess what? Don't even honor them with the gift of your time or presence. I wanted to go back because I saw that Jim Beach is getting in the hot seat, but anything you do is a success. Some endeavors are just successes on large scale. I love that, Chuck. You're absolutely right. Every time you're taking an action towards anything you're trying to accomplish, even if it's one step walking across the country, guess what? That's one step closer to your success. So keep in consistent motion towards whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish. Looks like Lou wants to come on, and Jim Beach. I love it. I love this conversation. I love the topic, and I love the fact that you guys want to just jump in and join the group. Looks like some technical difficulties. I always say here on Blab, if you look up in the upper left-hand corner, right next to the Blab symbol, it says beta for a reason, because we're still working out the kinks, as this platform is less than, I believe, 4 or 5 months old at this point. Lou Altman, Mr. Next Level, client care specialist in the house.
Yes, client care.
Thank you for joining us on today's Blab. I'd love to hear your feedback or your comments, because I know you always have valuable information to share.
Yeah, actually, I read I'm going to, just because I just posted it, I'm actually in the middle of editing my second book, the 10 Commandments of Exceptional Client Care. My daughter and I were talking this morning. She's down from Maine, where she lives, and we heard an ad for the grocery store chain where she works, and they talk about great customer service. And she, we obviously, being the business I'm in, she said, providing excellent customer service is being nice to everybody, even when they're a total jerk to you. And if you think about what you're talking about right now, somebody being a jerk to you is a form of criticism. They're doing something, there's some misalignment, and all criticism is a misalignment maybe of priorities, maybe of mentality, maybe of orientation, whatever it may be. But what I really wanted to say, I read this article yesterday. I think I posted it on Facebook. I'm going to have to go back and put it up on Twitter. And it was a fascinating article that talked about what you really want. How do you define what you really want? And it's not defined by what you really want. And it fits into this criticism perfectly. What you really want is going to be defined by the pain you're willing to endure to get there. So if you're doing your thing, if you're Perry Newbies, if you're coaching, if I'm speaking, and there are people criticizing me, if you're going to endure that pain, you are going to be successful because you're willing to endure that. And living with criticism, sorry, folks, that's part of the game. That's just the way it works. There's always going to be somebody out there who's saying, well, that person's no good. And this, what's always fascinated me in America for sure is we both admire and lambaste successful people at the same time. I mean, Ryan, right? Think about sports figures, Bill Gates, any of these like high-profile people. Bill Gates, he's so, but boy, what a greedy bastard because of blah, blah, blah. And you hear this for years, over and over and over and over again. He's a great person, but what a jerk because, and there are people with certain views of financial, their financial thermostats are set low, so somebody who's incredibly wealthy, they can't deal with it. So they'll criticize that bit. But if you're willing to endure the criticism, endure the pain, it may be embarrassment, it may be humiliation, it may be something you do, it may have nothing to do with you. If you're willing to tolerate that and forge through, success is all yours. Absolutely all yours.
Absolutely. And I think those are huge words of encouragement to Mary Joy. And you don't know her situation right now. I'm a little bit closer to it. But as you say that, I'm sure that resonates with you at a high level. Huh, Mary Joy?
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much. It's definitely got me thinking, this group is growing so quickly and we're heading towards 10,000. The responsibility is huge already, and I'm getting a lot of criticism for what I'm doing, and I'm like, oh my God, how am I gonna go towards 10,000 when it's already so hard right now? So all the help and support that I am getting from the mentors, I can't express my gratitude. They are just awesome. So yeah, this today is helping me because I know that all that I'm going through is another step to where we are heading. So yeah, thank you.
Momentum.
Yeah.
All about momentum.
So I'm looking at some of the things that I highlighted here, and I'll share with you a few of them. And this is straight from the book, Grant Cardone. I'm just going to read. And I'm probably going to, let me back up just a bit. When you start taking enough action, it won't be long before you're judged by people who aren't taking any action, right? If you're generating substantial success, people will start paying attention to you. Some will admire you, some will want to learn from you, but unfortunately, here's the key word, unfortunately, most will envy you. These are the people who use excuses for not doing enough, will morph into reasons why you are doing wrong. Think about that. Go ahead.
There's a very powerful human defense mechanism that I remember because I studied psychology in college. It's called justification. And Ryan, based on your title, hello, Kitty.
We have a guest.
Yes, you do. People need to feel good about themselves. And in fact, I'll even talk about my ex-wife, because my ex-wife, her family trait was to say how jealous everybody was of them to make themselves feel better. So when someone's criticizing you, who cares? I mean, really, that's going to stop you? Why would that stop you? I mean, come up with a real obstacle at least. So when somebody's criticizing you, as you were just reading, I'm thinking, yeah, because they need to justify their own worth. And I'm worthy because that person's a jerk because I'm envious and you know what? I don't want that anyway. And it's a thought process. It's a normal human defense mechanism. We've got a bunch of them, but that's one of the big ones.
And the artist said over on the comments here, or they're saying you're doing too much, right? Because they know they're not doing enough. How much is too much when you're trying to become successful? Especially when we're talking about the 10X rule. There is no too much when you're striving towards the things that you want and desire in your life. I mean, that is literally them saying, they may as well say to you, I'm not doing enough. Because that's exactly what they're saying to you when they're saying that you're doing too much, because they don't understand the concept of dedication at a high level and a no-hold-barred, do whatever it takes attitude that it takes to become successful. It's about passion, people. It's about passion. And I know Mary Joy's passionate about what she's doing. I'll share a story that as I was reading this chapter once again, the thought came to my mind is years ago I got in an MLM and had tremendous success because I went into it with reckless abandon. I went into it telling everybody. I did 3, 4, 5 of those presentations that you see in MLMs a day because I would talk to anybody who would listen to me, whether it was a one-on-one, a two-on-one, or a group of 20 or a group of 2,000 I spoke in front of. But the biggest challenge was I had one person who I spent an exorbitant amount of energy and time on because she said she wanted, some mentorship, and she showed dedication by showing up. By the way, 80% of everything is showing up, guys, but the other 20% is how you show up, right? Just being there isn't always enough. It's 80% of it, but the other 20% is play at 100% while you're there. So for those of you tapping the screens and engaging here on the right and asking questions, I thank you. But this is the thing, when she showed up and I gave her my all, she literally went to the upline and said, he's not doing anything for me. And that actually discouraged me to the point that I quit within a month of that because I thought to myself, as much as I've done, I took that one criticism. At the time, I was much younger. I took that one criticism and said, well, I'm throwing in the towel. Do not throw in the towel. I have enough life experience, Mary Joy, to help you and say that's not what you want to do because they are just naysayers. I know Lou has enough worldly knowledge and experience to say that, hey, don't listen to the naysayers. But it's easier said than done when you feel, right, a negative emotion towards like, wow, I gave my all to this person and they don't appreciate it. Realize it's a lack of self-respect on their part when they start to criticize you.
Yeah, and I mean, as we know, I mean, it's speaking more to what they think of themselves than what they think of you.
Absolutely.
I'm like reading these comments on the side too. They don't see the vision, lack of resilience. Yeah. Well, what's the phrase I've seen? Follow your dream, otherwise you can end up working for somebody following theirs. Not a lot of. I mean, I'm sure there's some satisfaction in that. I worked in the corporate world and wore a suit and tie and all that, and it's good for a while, but ultimately you're building someone else's dream. You're not building your dream. I can't wait to get out of school and go into middle management. Woo! It's not what we do.
There's nothing wrong with that for those who want to do that, right? Yeah. It's just not what I want to do, and it's not what you want to do. And I respect anybody who wants to do that. It's just not my desire, right? I actually need people to work under me and want to be led, because there are people who want to be led, and then there's people who want to lead. And there are people who are natural leaders, and then there are those who naturally need to be led by those people. So we need all types of people in this world. We absolutely do. But within that, even if you are at the best of your ability in that corporate job, and there are people who are in middle management that get criticized by their employees, right? Why? Because they're in a position maybe that they're not. And then it's easy to criticize when you've never been in somebody else's shoes.
Well,
go ahead.
I actually picked middle management because in the dynamic of an organization, it is the absolute toughest job out there, because you have a level of authority and responsibility, but not a huge level of authority and responsibility, but you have employees looking up to you to guide them, and you have to translate what's going on upstairs into an action plan for them. And so
Absolutely.
this economy wouldn't work without gifted and talented middle managers to do that translation. And I used to be one, and it's exhausting, but if you're good at it, boy, you will be very successful and make a lot of money. As you said, it's not for me though. That's not what I'm about. It's not what
it was a stepping stone in your growth to get to where you are today, which is necessary, right? Because as you said, that translation is very interesting as you put it that way. That translation is, even though it's not your vision, right? You must translate that to the people below you at a level of believability that they will engage in the activity to make that vision a success, whether it's your vision or not. And sometimes as middle management, the vision isn't always how you would do it. Why? Because you're listening to the people who are in the battle, giving you the advice. You translate that to upper management. You are the cog in that wheel that is going to bring that information. And what happens is middle management says, no, this is our vision. This is what you need to implement. And there's pushback from the people who said, but we told you this. This is what's going on. And there's that constant balancing act that middle manager has to do, keep those employees happy while keeping upper management happy, and still creating an environment that is conducive for success in the organization.
Absolutely.
So I posted that. Okay. So you're just talking to the people there. Excellent. Let me see what else I've highlighted here. And I just randomly highlighted. So something Grant said in the chapter is, and it was a fairly short chapter. One of my clients recently called my company to complain that my staff had been following up with him too aggressively. You got to love that one as a client care specialist, right? I called.
What does that even mean?
Called to ask. Yep, right. So you'll love this and you'll appreciate this one, and I know Chuck will appreciate it also. I called to ask him what the problem was. After listening to him malign my employees for doing what essentially is their job, I said, knock it off. They're simply doing what they know is right because they know we can help you. The fact that you haven't made a decision to move forward and pull the trigger is what should be criticized here. But I'll refrain from doing it because it won't do either of us any good. Now, let's stop the negativity and do something positive to move forward. Move your company forward, because he is a sales guy who helps companies increase their sales.
Wow.
Right? So let's stop criticizing my team and let's move forward so that you could get more sales in your life, is basically what he's saying. So positively move forward. I then rewarded my staff for aggressively following up with the client. Receiving complaints about too much follow-up is an indication that my staff is moving in the right direction. I refuse to allow this client's protests to stop us and supported my staff in their efforts. We all understand that criticism is a part of success. Is that my phone? Oh. And I won't apologize for any employee of mine who is seeking to succeed. Is that somebody's phone coming through? Is that
not mine?
Maybe it was mine. I apologize, guys. So he did close the deal, and that very same client now tells people and administration and praises those guys follow up like maniacs because he's now using the company. But that criticism, he could have allowed it to say, hey, guys, maybe, some
maybe we need to back it off a bit,
Maybe we need to back it off a bit. We got one criticism. Doesn't matter what our sales are saying. But some people like myself, right? I had that experience in that MLM. I heard one negative thing at a high level, in my opinion, and I decided to back off. I will never back off again, and I'm happy for that experience because now I welcome criticism because I understand it better. It's not about me. It's about those who lack the knowledge. Is Jim Beach back in the house yet or not? It doesn't look like he's here. Does anybody else like to chime in, jump in the hot seat? Chuck, you're always a wealth of knowledge. We'd love to see you. Beth, I'd love to see you. And Sujit, Thank you so much for jumping on.
Hey, I do want to make one comment about that story that I love. I mean, I really love. And I'm actually, it's funny how this always works. Like I said, I'm in the middle of going through the draft of my book. And I'm right at the point where you as management, you as the leader, you as the owner, whatever you want to call yourself, you got to have your employees' backs. Yes. You have to you got to have your employees' backs. Because people will criticize and people will call and yell and scream and everything else. But you know what? Me as a business owner and my staff, I will not let somebody take advantage or abuse my staff. Ever, 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 ever. You know what? If you don't like what we're doing, you are free to leave. Goodbye. And it goes back to, you know, sort of that dynamic goes back to a question that I always ask when I'm on consult calls with a business. Is your client base, or if you want to call them customers, are they worthy of having you as the provider? You know, we're all in business here to serve, but are they worthy of your time and energy and effort for the money that you make? And it's a question you got to ask yourself over and over again. So I love the fact that he goes back to basically the employee and says, hey, good job for you, and goes to the prospect and says, look, man, this is how we roll. If it's not, and effectively what he's saying is, if it's not right for you, great, but this is how this works, and this is what we do. And if you're going to criticize us, maybe you need to look at what you're doing or not doing instead.
And hire us and show us how to do this.
I like that. Yeah, I like that where this is how we roll. If you don't like it, then, you know, so yeah, that's great.
Well, and there's no shame admitting that your company's not right for everybody. I mean, you it doesn't matter who you are. You can't serve everyone. You know, people who like Nordstrom's don't shop at Walmart, and people who like Emirates Airlines don't fly Southwest.
So true. I like that. Because I know my group is not for everybody, and I have to accept that that's group for someone else. So yeah, hi Mama Louise, come and join us. We have a seat for you, or anyone who wants to talk about this. Criticism is a sign of success. What a way to go higher. Every single week I am getting that. So yeah, thank you. I think we lost Jim, so anybody who wants to join us.
Give me one second. You know, being on these platforms, you know, with, you know, Facebook and things going on in the background, people are trying to call me on the phone and on the Facebook. So just letting them know that I'm in a blab. So I apologize for that. Here's another criticism. You guys will love this one, that he said, when my book, If You're Not First, You're Last, hit the New York bestsellers list, some of my supposed competitors immediately began criticizing me. One person called the book's title arrogant. Another asked, who does Cardone think he is? Yet another suggested that I was getting too big for my own good. One person even called me to tell me to get a new editor because he claimed that the grammar was wrong. He has a New York Times bestseller, and someone read it and said the grammar was wrong.
The grammar's wrong.
He goes, did I pay attention to any of these comments? Not for a second. I had a New York Times bestseller. They're worried about the and the thes and the periods and the commas, yet he sold over 25,000 books. And that's where people's focus is, right? Hey, it wasn't good enough. Well, it was good enough to sell 25,000 plus copies in a certain time period, because that's what it takes to become a New York Times
Mostly
bestseller.
the people with bad grammar, though.
Yeah.
Right? I've got bad grammar. I'll buy it.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. Right. There you go. So these are the things that people focus on. I often say, you know, when there will be bad grammar or something like that, I'll share this. I'm writing a new book. And there's some people in the room that I asked to be a part of the book. Mary Joy is one of them. Mama Louise is here, and they both kindly accepted last night. And I sent out multiple emails, and some of them I know through Facebook or on these other platforms and didn't have their email address. As a matter of fact, I sent the same email out to everybody, but I changed the name at the top, right? And I cut and pasted, and Jim is one of the other people. Well, on 3 of the emails, it said their name, and because I cut and pasted Jim as the one I sent out first, it said Mary Joy, not on yours particular, Mary Joy, comma, Jim, comma, and then the book, you know, the offer to be a part of my book. And I sat there and thought to myself, okay, I just made a mistake. If they sit there and criticize that one mistake in the entire email and the opportunity, they're not the right people for my book. But the thought went through my mind like, wow, I just made a snafu. I made a mistake. But if they're going to grade me or judge me on that, right, they're not the right people to be in my book. And I know that I picked the right people to be in my book because I'll tell you, I sent it out to 10 of you. And 6 of them have already responded, and 2 of them have already sent back the questions. And I haven't even been in my email for the last 3 hours, so it could be more than that. Because I picked the right people that I want to be in my book. But you could focus on that one little mistake, or you could focus on the opportunity. And I know I picked the right people because they're all focused on the opportunity.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so true, yeah.
Does anybody want to jump in the hot seat? We got 20 minutes. Mama Louise, we love it when you get on. Come on, Sugar Pudding. I don't know if you know Mama Louise, Lou. Have you ever met Mama Louise or been on a scope?
I think I've been on a scope or 2 of hers, yeah.
I love her. She could talk me into a coma, and I just sit there and she's awesome. She speaks
a good one. A good
coma. Like oh, this is a good thing. This is like, I love it. So, I don't know who just joined.
Pure Organic
awesome.
Love.
Yeah, and I was like, hey, there's nothing wrong with that. Please join it. And I'm sure Pure Orgasmic Love, right? There was a brief moment right there, and you guys saw it. I judged it for a moment. I criticized it in my mind. Is that the right person to come into my blab? I don't know, but I'm sure he gets all kinds of criticism. Right. And if you're getting criticism, it's because you're putting your message out there the way you put it. Even myself, caught myself in the moment. Look, we all judge, we all criticize. It's what you do with it on the other end and take action going forward. Do you want to accept the criticism, or do you want to sit there and push through the criticism knowing that that's their own insecurities? I'm
actually reading their description. I like it.
I'm sure it's amazing.
Healthy love, relationship, and sex. Sex positive, accepting, communicating with erotic exploration to help you along your path. Love it. Love it.
Love it.
Right there. Offering service and value. Help you along your path. I love it.
There you go. We are sex positive educators. And
Brian,
we're all doing it. Well, that's Antonio, right? So
yeah, whatever.
That's it. So I would love for you to enter the chat if you would like, because what we're talking about here today is the criticisms is a sign of success in any business. And I imagine in your business, because of the nature of it, from people who are not as open-minded, literally you get a lot of criticism, but you're providing probably an invaluable service to so many people who are ashamed of opening up sexually or exploring things sexually, and you're letting them know that those things are okay. You're allowing them to express themselves the way they need to in that format. So if you would like to hop in the open seat, I think that would be great. Lou, Mary Joy, any comments?
Nothing bad will happen.
Guys, buy the 10X Row book, because I said I'm going to help Grant Cardone be seen and known, so that one day I can meet him personally and say, I help you out. And so, yeah, keep finger crossed, guys. That'd be cool.
Hey, when you get that invite, you know I'm getting on a plane also. So
yeah, why not? It's got to be on the plane. I'll have to have lunch with him there, because, you know, it might be something else. I will scoop it as well.
Well, I'll share this with you. You know, when we're talking about things like that, and Lou has a very interesting story. I know Lou personally also, and the day I met him, he shared, and you all know who Sir Richard Branson is, I'm sure. Lou, I'm going to embarrass you, but I'm not going to embarrass you. But it sounds like a dream that may not be possible, right? In your mind, it's like a dream. Oh, to fly with Grant Cardone. But I'll share with the audience, because she is in 10X Action and she listens to Grant and she gets on his Facebook feeds and she gets on his Periscopes. She often comments, and I'm sure Grant Cardone knows who you are at this point because you're there, and he responds to her comments. Right? So she's not that far away from attaining what she wants to, because if she's consistent enough and expresses enough interest, she may one day be in that private jet with Grant Cardone, as he's saying this is someone who stayed in the game the entire way. Well, the gentleman below me had a dream to have lunch with Sir Richard Branson, and this happened for him, and I will actually let him tell you the story, and it didn't happen overnight. It actually happened over a 5-year period. A 5-year period.
5 years. Yeah.
And I'm sure there was some criticism in that journey.
Yeah.
Here now, and actually, I'm going to raise a new dimension about this. A lot of the criticism was from me. How many times do we criticize ourselves? I mean, there's a saying once. I think, Ryan, it's from T. Harv. If trees talk to themselves the way we do, 100-foot oak would be 10 feet tall. There's Mama Louise.
Hi, Mama.
Hi, Sugar Puddings. How are you?
Hello. Oh, see, I love that. It's like music to my ears.
You know I can't resist you. You know this, right?
Oh, Mama, we love you.
Yes.
I got grass all on my feet. I'm farming it today, but you know I have to appear when you request. I cannot resist. How's everyone? Hi, Lou. How you doing, baby?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, Sugar Pudding. I'm great. Okay, I'm here.
Awesome. We'll give you the floor in a second. I would like Lou to go through his story.
I decided once that I don't know, among the things I want to do in my life, have private tailored clothing and fly in the Concorde, all this other stuff. Have lunch with Richard Branson, not fawn over him like, oh my God, you're Richard Branson. Oh, but just, you hear all these stories about these billionaires and these high profile people, and they're normal people like everybody else. It'd be fun to have them sit down and have lunch with them and just have a normal conversation, kind of like we are here. And shortly after I decided that, I came across his personal assistant. I don't remember if it was on LinkedIn or Googled it, or there might have been some action on my part. I don't recall. And so every time I was going to London, literally for the next 5 years, I would send her an email and say, I'm going to be in London, would love to have lunch with Sir Richard. If you can arrange it, that would be great. And he's not here, or it's not available, or what do you want to talk about? And a year ago, for my 50th birthday, I went to the Bitter End Yacht Club. And I was looking at a map, and I noticed that Richard's private island is 2 islands away. So I sent my email, and I said to her, look, it's my 50th birthday. I'm going to be at the Bitter End Yacht Club. I don't want to, I don't want to presuppose anything. Can we invite Richard to come to the resort and have lunch with us, me and my wife? And I got an email the night before my birthday, which is actually coming up this weekend. So it's going to be a year ago Friday. I get an email that said, Sir Richard wishes you a happy birthday. We would love to host you for lunch. We'll send a boat to pick you up at 1 o'clock.
Ooh.
And at 1 o'clock, we're down on the boat dock, and this really nice little rib boat shows up, and we go barreling over to the island, and we ride up to the main house, and we have champagne because they found out it's my birthday, and zip line down to the beach for lunch. And we're having lunch and talking about normal people things. Where did you meet? Tell me about your engagement, your wedding, because one of his nephews was there, and he was talking about his proposal, and there was a newlywed couple they were sailing and their boat broke down. And when your boat breaks down off of Richard Branson's island, you get invited to stay. And so somewhere along the conversation, when he asked me about how I proposed to my wife, the issue of we're ballroom dancers came up. She's more of a ballroom dancer than me. And so his nephew ran over and said, if we play a song, will you dance? Well, my wife and I will dance anywhere. In a pool, in a parking lot, waiting for a table at a restaurant, in an airport, it doesn't matter. And so we're looking at the sand, and Richard jumps up on the table and he says, nope, you're going to dance on the table. They cleared away the stuff. They started the music, and we have a short video and some pictures of us doing a West Coast swing on the lunch table after having lunch with Richard Branson because he invited us to come to lunch. So when you tell people this story, usually the response is, how the hell did you do that? Which is kind of, a little bit of disbelief, aka criticism. But the funny thing is, even though it's something I've done, to me, it's still a little surreal. Like, you met Richard Branson. Wow, that's really cool. Yeah. Why did he want to meet with you? What's the difference? Take the win. So part of it is when you set your intentions and just stay focused on it. If you get almost tunnel vision towards what your goal is, you're not even going to hear the criticism because it doesn't even register. You're focused on your goal. You're focused on the intention. This is what I want. This is what I want to do. Here's how it's going to happen. And all this other noise out there is irrelevant. Absolutely irrelevant. So,
and as you stated, the noise in here too.
There's
noise in here too.
Yeah, there is. We all, everyone. Let me get my hand out. So you can raise it. I'll raise my hand. There's a lot of noise in here, and if you're not raising your hand, you're lying. So get your hand up. Both hands and feet, of course.
I'm going to tap on everybody's screen and raise hands everywhere there too.
Everyone gets some props for that. Yeah. So absolutely.
So Mama Louise, thank you so much for that story, Lou. I love it each and every time I hear it because I think it's a true testament to, if you want something, you set it out to the universe, you take action towards it. This happened over 5 years for Lou. He contacted his secretary every several months trying to just poke and prod, and I'm not going anywhere. I want to have lunch with this guy. He probably thought it was a little, but when the opportunity really arose and the stars aligned, for his 50th birthday, he got to spend it with Richard Branson, which is awesome. So I'd like to now introduce Mama Louise, and I can't imagine, because I love you so much, anybody criticizing you. So besides your own mind, I know you've had a tremendous amount of success on the platform of Periscope just recently, and with success, as we're discussing, comes some criticism. How have you received the criticism, or I'll just leave it at that. How have you received any criticism, if any at all? And how are you dealing with it?
Well, I think, like you say, mostly you more on yourself, making sure, because for me, my role on Periscope as like in a mother and a guide, it's a large responsibility. So you want to really make sure that you are really conscious of what you're doing and conscious of all that is there, So it isn't more of so as criticism, but just self-evaluation to make sure, that you are handling your responsibility of this gift you have to give to other ones. So you're being very cognizant of yourself, your behavior, your actions, for all that you do, But you're aware when people are not pleased, when they are pleased, and then you have to just come within yourself and make the decision that I can't let them define me. You understand what I'm saying? I have to take responsibility and be solid within myself to know I'm okay on my journey. You understand what I'm saying, sweetie pie? Yeah. Absolutely. And so people might not come out and criticize you. They may show it in their behavior as opposed to verbally doing it. You understand what I mean? Absolutely. And so in that, you must be aware that it is what it is, and don't ignore it, or don't fluff it up, as, one of our great listeners say, no fluff, He says no fluff. And so being mindful that, yes, that, everyone's not going to love you all the time. And that's, but it's the manner of how you handle it. That's what I feel is important. You can decide to either, release it in kindness. When someone is not pleased with what I'm doing, I release it in kindness. And to me, that works, because then that individual always comes back so humble, and we don't even get into whatever the conflict or dispute is. And so I've definitely dealt with conflict because again, people like, well, you ain't my mama. You right, sugar buddy.
And that's the beauty. I actually had this conversation, Mama Louise, and you actually came to mind when I was having the conversation, just at lunch just now. And I was telling a friend of mine who is creating a speaker's course, and he's not on Periscope. I said, the one thing I noticed most in Periscope is you could have 20 or 30 amazing comments, and you could have somebody delivering an amazing message, right? And they'll see that one negative comment, and that one negative comment throws them off their game, and they engage in that negative comment. And you, Mama Louise, are the best because I'm not your mama. You're right. And that's it. And she just lets it go. She doesn't really engage in it other than to say that. And if somebody else blocks or you block, you do it. And I've been very conscious on mine. If something like that happens, I read the comment, I tap the screen, I block them, and I go, guys, I just got to do a block party, and make fun of it and keep going. Because if you allow them to throw you off your message for your listeners, it means there's a certain level of confidence is missing in your message. And the viewers see that. Because if you're going to engage in that negativity, then there's a certain, like I just said, a certain level of confidence that isn't occurring with you. And we all have a lack of confidence in some areas of our life. I'm not saying, but it's something you need to work on and be conscious of. So if you're engaging in that talk, it's a reflection of you because you're criticizing yourself. Something they're saying there has a little bit of truth where you're not comfortable with it, so you need to engage in it. Would you agree with that?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. And in that instance, in that situation, again, it was for me, it was with love, And I think about 3 days later, the person came back. Hi, Mama. I said, hi, Sugar.
He's like, I'm your mama now.
Okay. But you're right. When criticism comes, sometimes you have to make the decision. Is this criticism that's trying to grow me, or is it trying to tear me apart? And so you have to differentiate, which is that. And if it's something to grow you, you may want to accept it and allow it to grow you. And if it's going to tear you apart, just release it and don't spend so much time within it. That is the key to it all, because other than that, you won't be able to move. You'll be frozen yourself and unable to move forward. So I had to, because remember, you're on live stream, and so you have to be cognizant of that too. I don't want to say, well, what did you say, guys? You said what? Huh?
But that's what I'm saying. There are people who do that on a live stream with 40, 50, 60 viewers and allow that to throw them off. And love, it's and that's got to be your core. And for yourself, love for yourself with criticism. Make sure you are fortified inside to know, yes, and celebrate. I'm imperfect. I'm happily imperfect. So therefore, criticism is not going to impede me because I'm thrilled that I'm not perfect. Isn't that wonderful?
Mama Louise, we love you.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Hey, Lou, Lou, unless you had something to say, I was just going to say something about being perfect. My wife, who is brilliant and gorgeous and beautiful, and we have so much fun together. Her comment is always, "I'm not perfect. I'm glad I'm not, because nobody would talk to me if I was." How could you talk to somebody who's perfect? They've got all the answers.
Yes.
So I love being imperfect. Mama Louise, I'm with you, man. It's great. You know why? Because if you're imperfect, you also have plenty of opportunities to learn and grow and develop and get better. Okay. And what the hell does perfect mean anyway, which is a whole other blab. So, Ryan, you were going to ask me something. What I was going to say,
I'd love for us to open a seat because I had asked somebody to come in. Okay. Give me a few minutes. So
I can come right out.
No.
I love all of you guys. I'd be more than happy to hop out.
You stay. No, I'm gone. Hey, you guys have a great day. I'll still be on.
Always thank you.
Thank you.
Always thank you for your work.
Guys.
All right, baby.
So, yes, I love this platform. I love these discussions, and it's amazing to get so many people from around the world, right? Around the country, but around the world on the same page. If you look at the map in the upper right-hand side of the blab, those are all the people around the country. And you see, hey, we have some people in South America, obviously. That's you, Mary Joy, over there in Europe. And then all around the country, people are coming in. So Pure Orgasmic Love, and I'm going to get the name here in a second, is hopping in because we are discussing hey, is this the right one? Is this the right blab for this particular person? And it's absolutely the right blab because I'm sure they receive criticism. So what's your name, by the way?
Hi, I'm Dragonfly. Well, real name
Dragonfly.
Connie. Yeah, I go by Dragonfly on the podcast.
I whichever way you want. So Dragonfly, thank you so much for joining our blab. And I'm sure you just randomly came across the blab and decided to hop in.
Well, I have to tell you, today is my first day on blab. I've never even been on blab, so today is my first day.
Awesome. So we got to give you a lot of love, and we're tapping the screen. Those of us who are tapping the screen, and that's us showing appreciation to you for taking action. As you can see, my name is the Action Man, Ryan Roy. And so I applaud anybody who takes action. For you to get on here and for the very first time get in a blab, that is amazing and awesome. So that's great. And I think it's great that you're in on this blab because I'm sure in your line of work you do receive a lot of criticism, but you've also surpassed and just continue to move forward because you have to in order to get your message through, right?
Yes. Let me say something. I saw criticism in your title, and that's why I jumped on this one. I've been on you're the fourth one I've been on today, and some have been very unique, and some have been, one was interesting, one was way beyond what I ever thought that it was going to be on here. And then I saw criticism, and I thought that's something I need to jump on with. And you're correct. I do come across a lot of criticism. The type of work I'm in, not everybody's going to agree on. And we have a certain way of doing things. And in direction to Mama, hi, nice to meet you. I'm so excited to meet you. I totally agree with her. You know, we're not perfect. And something in my personal life I have strived for is perfection. You know, I grew up with a family that said, if you're not going to do it right the first time, don't do it at all. You know, there were strict guidelines to follow. And I've always strived for that perfection. However, Swamp Ape, my cohort in my love podcast and business, my husband actually, he has consistently reiterated the part, like Mama, you said, nobody's perfect. Well, we believe that everybody's perfect in exactly how they're supposed to be. And that's a hard thing to wrap your head around, to be honest, because, you know, people do strive to be perfect and people don't want to show their imperfections. We all have them. And that makes us who we are. And that allows us for growth in our own lives and to help other people out there. So if you can accept your own perfections and allow people to see some of those, you can help so many people. You're going to get criticism no matter if you're doing everything perfect in your eyes or not. Not everybody's going to agree with you. Everybody has the right to their own opinion.
Absolutely.
You know, how I feel about it, though, because I jump on a lot of, I'm in some groups in Facebook and whatnot, and I jump in on polyamorous relationships and love and dating and just sexual experience and whatnot in those groups. And it's interesting how I get criticized for some of the most small things that had nothing to do with what I was actually talking about. People nitpick. And that's hard for me to let go, but you have to let go of that. You have to let go of that because regardless of how they feel, I feel like they're not doing it out of love. So what I tell everybody is, as long as, because you hear the saying, let's go back to the saying, you hear the saying, treat others how you would like to be treated. I can't go by that saying because everybody sees being treated a certain way differently. So if I choose to do things out of respect and love all the time, and I let that be my guide and my basis for everything that I do, I feel that's a bit of a healthier way to have that perspective. You know, you allow the people to have their own opinions and everything, but if I do everything for you, Mama, and for you, Mary Jo, and for you, Ryan, out of love being my basis, how can you go wrong with that?
That's right, baby.
You know, you let that be your guide. You know, let that be your guide. And when somebody offends you, or, you know, there's so much put on being politically correct now. Well, everybody's political correctness is different also. And you're going to get criticism for things you say. I use a lot of different verbiage in our podcast and when I coach people. And I use, you know, I don't know what kind of language is allowed on here, whatnot, so I won't get into how I speak.
You can say whatever you need to say.
Okay.
We're all open-minded adults here.
Use, for instance, the word vagina. Well, vagina is a very sterile word, but it's also the real word in textbook form. However, everybody has their different version of what a vagina is. And when we're just speaking in the terms of a vagina being a female part of the body, some people use coochie, some people use punani, some people use pussy, some people use different verbiage. So what I try to do is open people's minds on that front to go, okay, it's okay to use your verbiage, and there's nothing wrong with the verbiage you use. So just like taking that, for instance, and I use that for an instance because that's what I'm used to talking about, because I primarily focus on women's sexuality, because women have been so very repressed in our society for such a very long time. I think we need to help women expand their horizons, their thought processes, and then also help all the other people that are involved in their lives, you know, with that. You just guide yourself with love. And even when that criticism comes your way, I respect that is your opinion. I did this out of this, which happens to be love. And I hope you can understand that. And you got to let it go. You can accept that you were angry, or that they were angry, or that you got that criticism and it made you feel a certain way. But in the end, harboring that criticism and letting that bother you in such a significant manner does nothing for you in the long run.
Yeah.
Sure, baby.
I like that.
Wow.
Wow.
That's beautiful, sweetheart.
Thank you.
That is.
Feels good.
So, Mary Joy, I actually would like you to chime in on that, because I saw you shaking your head a lot there. And what is your opinion on that as someone who's been receiving some criticism lately?
As a lot of you know, I'm very emotional, and one criticism can really put me down. And when you was talking about guide yourself with love, I have to take that on board, because no matter what I'm gonna do, some will love me and some will hate me. So I'm just gonna go forward with my vision and my mission for my group, that if one person don't like it, then I got to let go, like you said, because it is this business that we're doing. There's gonna be people that's gonna tell you, I don't like what you're doing. Except when you're in Periscope, there are people there who's commenting some rude remarks, and if I was brand new, I would take it on board and think something is wrong with me. So going forward, thank you so much, Ryan, for this blog, because I am getting a lot of criticism every week. And I feel like, you know, I said to Ryan and mentors, I don't know how I'm going to carry on, because it's so hard to be doing something good, but yet at the same time, you feel like you've done something wrong. So with that, guide yourself with love. Yeah. I will take that on board and move with my mission, because we are going to reach how many people with Periscope. So thank you so much. I love that. Thank you. Yeah.
You're
awesome.
Welcome. You're welcome.
So I will share this. We're a little bit over the hour. This was an hour blab. So I want to thank everybody who joined. You guys were absolutely phenomenal. This is a weekly show we're doing. We will be discussing the 10X Rule by Grant Cardone, which is basically a sales book, right? But as chapter 18 is, criticism is a sign of success. No matter what you're doing, whether it's sales, real estate, sex, coaching, no matter what it is, we're all selling something, and we're always selling ourselves, right? So you must take into consideration it's a reflection of the other people criticizing you, not what it is that you're doing wrong. You're doing everything right by following your heart, your passion, and sharing it with love, as Connie described. So I want to thank you guys for this. If you like what you heard today, please share it out with your Twitter followers, share it out on your Facebook. You can all, I believe, access it. Mary Joy is going to upload it to her YouTube channel. And the main thing I would like to share with everybody, if this is a new platform to you, Connie, it is Blab. I don't know if you're familiar with Periscope.
Yes, we do Periscope. We were doing Periscopes every Thursday, and then we had some things happen in our personal life with our family that kind of took us away from that Thursday night Periscope. But yes, I do like the Periscope. I like this idea, and I think we're going to do a Blab really soon. I'm really excited about the connection that
you're a natural.
Form, thank you.
You're a natural. So I would, encourage you to take action on that and do it. And as regards to Periscope, Mary Joy, which is above you, is the founder of what she calls Perry Newbies. You can find that at perrynewbies.com. And it helps people. We're about 1,700 people strong now on Periscope, get out of their comfort zone and get on and share their message. So if that's something that you'd be interested in doing, I always talk about as an action coach is consistency. And one thing you said there is you're doing a Periscope a week. I encourage people to do multiple Periscopes a day.
What we decided to do actually is anytime we're driving around or just having chat talk inside the house, that's when some of our best ideas come out for our podcasts and whatnot. And if you guys don't know what a podcast, I don't know if you guys know what a podcast is, but it's basically talk radio on demand. So we have a podcast called POL Podcast, Pure Gasmic Love Podcast. And so we decided we're going to start using the Periscope in reference to that on a regular basis, possibly once a day or anytime we're driving in the car and Swamp Ape and I are doing our little, chatter. We thought we would do it like that.
Yes, and it's a great idea because you can use the phone as one platform, and if you have multiple phones, one could be scoping and one could be delivering the podcast all at the same time. So you're getting live viewers, and then you're doubling, tripling, quadrupling. Who knows what number you would get once you get some growth. But Perry Newbies is a great way to connect with some amazing people who have already had a lot of success with Periscope. And gain some followers that way. The right people will follow you as long as you show up.
Can you put that in the side so everybody can see and have a link for that?
Absolutely.
That way I can copy and paste it and put it in there. And just if I can give myself a little plug, because you guys have been so awesome.
Absolutely.
If you guys follow anybody on Twitter, if you guys are on Twitter, the way it signed in with my old Twitter for some reason. And it didn't change when I updated it. So our business website is puregasmiclove.com.
You can type it in if you want.
I would let everybody know that, because if you're looking for information or help or guidance or have some great ideas or questions, we love interacting. And that's what I do. I coach people with their sexuality and to help explore avenues that they've maybe not even thought of.
Yeah. Connect with me also. You could find me. If you want to shoot me an email, you can find me on Twitter also through this handle. But there's some people that I think that I've seen on Periscope who would probably resonate with you, who have a huge community in sexuality that I think you would get some great ideas and could do some major collaborations with that are also here on Blab.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Awesome. You're welcome. So I just want to thank everybody. This is the beauty of Blab, is you get people from all over the place. We're all coming here. We're all in motion. We're all early adopters, as Blab is a fairly new platform. And together we can move mountains. So from me, Ryan Roy, from Mary Joy, and for everybody who is on here today, we'd love to see you next week, next Wednesday, 3 p.m. Eastern time. And we'll be here talking about 10xLife with Grant Cardone. So have an amazing, amazing day or night wherever you are. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Bye.